Good evening, YouTube. Matt M. Roy back once again. Hope everybody's doing well tonight. Wow, we got 6 people here already. I almost was late to this thing. I'll be honest with you. I was working on that computer right over there. You can see it right there. That one, and I just started losing track of time. Let me see if I can mount this back up properly again. I tell you, wow, I am dumb. Oh my gosh. I just now realized that this webcam has 2 different mounting points. It's got one in the front for like a laptop style screen and one in the back for a desktop style screen. Well, I was using the desktop clamp. But these are the HP 24Fs, the 24-inch IPS displays, and they are so thin they act like a laptop display. So, that's why it kept falling off. I tell you, folks, I'm losing my mind. It really, really seems like it more and more every day. Um, Health and fitness. That is what this live stream is going to be about. This is something that you know is near and dear to my heart. Something that I've struggled with, that probably most of you on my channel have struggled with over the years. And I want to give you an update on how I've been handling it during this coronavirus outbreak, and maybe ways that you can handle it as well. Now, I don't know how to approach this, except there were a few different news outlets. I'm not going to name names, but they're naming this the COVID-5 weight gain, and this is named the COVID-5 weight gain because apparently most people that they're saying during this whole situation have gained on average about 5 pounds. And that's because we're sitting in, we're supposed to be social distancing, we're not leaving our houses, we're eating more food than we normally would, and of course, we're gaining weight. There are many, many ways you can mitigate that weight gain. In most parts of the world, now I'm not going to say just the country, in most parts of the world, you are actually allowed to go out and exercise and encouraged to do so as long as you're social distancing. I went out for another bike ride today. Mom and I went to the store. I went out for a bike ride actually twice. I went out earlier. So if I added up, probably wound up being like, I don't know, maybe 9 or 10 miles today. That being said, you want to scatter the different types of exercise that you do. Your body will adapt to one form of exercise. So you don't really want to do the same things day after day after day. And I'm really bad at that. I'm the first one to admit it. I am a creature of habit, a creature of routine. I pretty much do the same thing every day. So this is one of those situations where I say, do as I say, not as I do. Give you a good example. You get up, maybe have breakfast, and you go for a bike ride one morning. And the next morning you get up, eat breakfast, go for a walk, and then go back and forth. Those are generally the 2 accepted forms of exercise. Now, for those of you that are young, you may want to add jogging or running or skateboarding, rollerblading. Not something that I will probably ever do again. Not that I did much of it as a kid. You got to remember, I was pretty hefty when I was young. And don't mind me, I am just putting some lotion on because my skin is very dry. That's another thing, folks. If you are exercising outside, especially on a sunny day, make sure you're lathering yourself up with sunscreen. And at the very least, if you don't have sunscreen, you can use lotion. I always buy the Cetaphil. I have this literally next to me on my computer desk. I have one next to me on my bed, and I lather myself up about twice a day just to make sure that I don't burn. And of course, if you are not of Scandinavian descent like I am, then you probably don't have to use it quite as much. Rick Legs just came back from a 6-mile bike ride. Excellent, excellent. 6 miles is really good. Another thing, if you do get a sunburn, stuff's great. Aloe vera after sun gel. This is just one from Walgreens, but you can pretty much get them anywhere. Okay. So, one thing you want to do is you want to avoid the carbs. And once again, I'm going to use myself as an example here because I am a carbaholic. I love my carbs. I love oatmeal, which, yes, oatmeal is a carb, believe it or not, although it does have a lot of protein. But there are even ways that you can reduce the amount of carbs that you intake. For example, this evening for dinner, if you saw my earlier live stream, I had a lunch dinner because I do fast about 12 hours a day. Well, I should say 16 hours a day. I had pork barbecue with peppers, onions, and baked beans. Now, normally I would eat something like that on a sandwich bun or a Kaiser roll, which has about 200 calories and about say 24 to 25 grams of carbohydrates, pretty high. So instead, what I did is I opted for a whole wheat tortilla, a soft one that I picked up at Aldi. And that, let me look this up real quick because I don't want to get this wrong. Okay, wait a minute. Calories, here we go. It's always hard to find that one article you need when you're looking for it. And I'll probably wind up finding this later. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yep. If I average it out, about 8 grams. So let's say about half. Well, 8 to 12. So about half of what a Kaiser roll would be. And you also have to remember, being that it's whole wheat, you're getting the complex carbohydrates instead of the simple carbohydrates or the basic, like simple sugars. So there are a lot of things out there that you can do to basically try to stay healthy. In world news, Donald Trump, or President Trump, suspends U.S. involvement in the World Health Organization. This I am very happy about. They have been really, really. They're basically an organization. I'll read the Wikipedia on that. The World Health Organization, the specialized agency of the United Nations responsible for international public health, the WHO, right, who established the agency's governing structure and principles, states in main objectives the attainment by people of the highest possible health. And I'll look at the article right here. Because they have failed to make the requested and greatly needed reforms, we will be today terminating our relationship with the World Health Organization and redirecting those funds to other worldwide and deserving urgent global public health needs. Okay, I like this. I like this idea because we have been funding this for many, many years. And they are not putting the best interests of our country basically in front. Actually, they're not even half considering us. So I find it very, very comforting that we are suspending any involvement in the WHO for the time being. Things may change in the future, and we'll have to revisit that when maybe they'll bring everything up to par. All right, so we got 11 people here. Mark, I'm doing just fine. Hope you got that link from me earlier. I sent the link for the past live stream I did last night. I'm doing fine, Classic Mobile Home. Not sleeping as well as I have been, but I think that's something everybody's dealing with right now. So we got 10 watchers and 2 likes. Don't forget to click that like button. If you are enjoying this content, please, just give me a like. That does help boost my channel greatly. Okay. 10 things you can do to manage your COVID-19 symptoms at home. No, that's not what I want. Definitely not what I want. We're talking about staying healthy and not getting sick in the first place. Okay. This is for mental health, and mental health is very important too. We can't forget that. This is actually from Millikan University. And they say, number one, create a daily schedule. I've talked a lot about that. You want to have your day planned out before you even get up. That reduces stress on average. And it's a must for me. That's just the way I live my life. I have to have things planned out. I can be spontaneous, but it stresses me out. So I definitely like to plan in advance. Number two, reach out and connect. Not necessarily just connecting to family and friends, but if you're feeling anxious or depressed, there are many different entities out there. You know, got the American Suicide Prevention Hotline, Crisis Tech Line 211. I'm not sure what that one is. Huh. This is great. This is exactly what we're doing here. Consume and share validated, accurate information with caution and limits. Okay. With the myriad of different types of devices we have now, we have our cell phones, we have a computer, which I'm using right now, we have smart TVs that bombard us with CNN, NBC, all these news outlets that, let's face it, in the interest of their bottom line, are putting the grimmest possible take on this whole COVID-19 because that's how they get the ratings. That's how they get people to tune in. Unfortunately, people don't like to tune in to a lot of positive news anymore. They'd rather hear the negative stuff. I think that is indicative of our culture as a whole. But what you want to do is just turn it off, folks. I'm going to tell you something that I do that helps me out. Around 9 at night, when I'm starting to wind down, I'm not doing any more exercises, I put my phone on airplane mode. I move my tablet into the closet where it charges. Sometimes I'll put that in airplane mode too, but usually I can't hear it anyway. I put music on, I lay down, and I get ready to go to bed. Do I always fall asleep right away? No. But it's a time that I can come down from the day, and that's something we all have to do. Eric's enjoying Georgia. Just remember, Eric, it gets hot there. We visited Georgia back in the 90s when I was a kid, and it was in the middle of summer, and I think it was Savannah. Yeah, it was Savannah, Georgia, and it was extremely hot. I'm talking like in the middle of the day, it was like 100 degrees with maybe 95% humidity. So basically, like where I live now. If you like heat, that's great. I mean, nothing wrong with that. Hey, Mark's dad, if you're still watching this, he's doing okay. He's downstairs. He's actively trying to manage his blood sugar. That's been a little bit of a complication recently. I'm not going to get into a lot of specific health details, but he's doing okay. Exercise and eat healthy. I think we've covered that many times on this channel. Try to relax. Boy, if that's one I have a problem with. Not that I have a problem with the premise of it. I just have a problem doing it. Their recommendations, things like reading a book, playing a game, medication. I love how the third thing on there is medication. Like, yeah, everybody's probably taken lithium or Percocet or something to calm us down during this. Yoga, deep breathing, listening to music, and more. I love listening to music. As a matter of fact, you guys won't be able to see it. It's on top of my speaker, but I have this, excuse me, Sonos. You can kind of see the app for it right down there. Player that I picked up at the CHKD in Virginia Beach last week for like $5. I actually bought two of them. And they're great. They plug right into an Ethernet port, basically right into a router, and I can play the Sonos radio all night long. And I've needed that recently. My sleep has not been very good. And on there, get enough sleep. Sleep is always important. And that's one thing. We do not get enough sleep. On average, I read in many places that people may only get 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night. And there is some truth to the fact that it's enough sleep for some. For most of us, we need that good 7 or 8 hours. I used to. Now, not so much. Yep, I said Virginia Beach. Yep, that was the one right off of Rosemont Road, on the corner of Rosemont and Virginia Beach Boulevard, actually. Complete a project. It's a good one. And then also volunteer as you can. Now, be a little cautious about volunteering, because if you are immunocompromised, I highly recommend you don't. But, if you're in good health, overall health, and you do it safely, then yes, maybe volunteer at a local soup kitchen, or, volunteer maybe. The great one I used to do is I used to take care of the cats at PetSmart up here where I live. And that's something that really needs to be done. Now, in my area, at least, though, the PetSmarts, the Petcos are not doing adoptions, but you have to remember, those cats, those animals, those cats and dogs, they are still at humane societies. So you may want to look into going to those humane societies and helping out there, volunteering. And again, that's also good for your health as well. Excuse me, I am so sorry. Eating healthy has its drawbacks, namely gas. And, Tums a time or two are not a bad idea. Awesome computers. I'll answer a quick tech question, but that's not really what we're doing tonight. How long do you think the socket 775 will stay viable for basic usage such as web browsing, YouTube, etc.? Well, it depends on the CPU. I mean, you could have something like a socket LGA 775 Core 2 Quad, like a Q6600 or Q9400, and they're still very viable. I mean, I know people that still use those systems for video editing. So to answer your question, I would think for at least another decade, as long as the operating systems continue to support the architecture, which is almost a guarantee, because the x86 standard has been around for so long. I honestly don't see that changing. No, I actually didn't go to the JCOC. I know that it's there. We ran out of time. We went bike riding at Mount Trashmore. Again, shouting out for another great exercise. I'm sure where you all live, you have walking trails, bike trails, state parks. Take a bike there, take yourself there, walk them. I mean, it is gorgeous getting back to nature. I mean, just exploring the different areas. And now you can do that because most state parks are reopening for exercise. Now, in most instances, you're not able to actually like camp there or stay there overnight, but at least they're opening up during the day. And as a matter of fact, a lot of the places where I live, like one place we have called Hoffler Creek Wildlife Preserve, that has all these different walking trails. they never closed. They were open pretty much the entire time this craziness was going on, and probably still will. Wow, we got 17 watchers here. That is awesome. I know I don't have a huge channel, folks, and I do appreciate you stopping by. You know, it does help me out. I think it helps you all out too, you know, mentally during this difficult time, to be able to, you know, to talk about different things. I have to look at buying that. Believe it or not, I'm actually shopping while we're doing this. I have a problem. I really do. Robert Jones is here. Korova Beach in Currituck. Okay, no, that's not too far at all. There's a gentleman that used to come to my channel on. I can't remember his name. I haven't seen him in years. He lived down that way. Man, I'd love to have a house near the beach sometime. Yeah, maybe I have to win the lottery. How many of you out there would actually want to win the lottery? I don't know if I would. I don't think I'd want that tax burden, to be honest with you. And it is, believe me, it can be more of a headache. And of course, then you get the jealousy. All your friends and your neighbors find out you won, and they won't stop hounding you. Man, Eric, I don't know if you're here, but I am really enjoying those pictures. What is that? I guess you rented a cabin or something in the woods. Wow, that's beautiful. Look at that. Oh, he is having fun too. Really having fun. What Christian music is usually best to exercise to? That's a great question, Mark. I always do Petra. I used to listen to Newsboys, but as I'm getting older, I don't really appreciate the more heavy, not heavy metal, but the more harder rock that they had. So I would say Petra. Boy, Mom's voice carries, doesn't it, folks? Hang on a second. Hmm, I don't know. Moving on. Moving on. Assets that generate income. I am not, by no means a financial expert, but I've listened to enough experts to know that right now you do not want your money in the U.S. banking system, i.e., U.S. currency, because when all this is said and done, we're going to have humongous inflation, which means that the value of a dollar will be greatly reduced. Most of you that have been watching me for any length of time know why I'm showing you this. Um, but you have to remember where you want your money now is in goods, like physical goods, things you can have. Like I do the computers, which has been a blessing. Believe me, if I didn't have that to do, I don't think I'd be staying sane right now. I mean that, but it's a source of income, and if you have something like that, that'll see you through a crisis like this. And it doesn't have to be computers; it could be anything. I actually know somebody whose niece is making face masks. I mean, that's a great business right now, making and selling face masks. Don't price gouge people, you know, sell them for a fair profit. Generally, they're about $5 from what I've seen. They take about $2.50 to make materials and labor each, and then they sell them for $5. So they're doubling their money, and that is good business. If you can double your money on anything, that's always a good day. Alkaline water, folks. See it, buy it, drink it. It really cuts down on the acidity. Um, This is from Dollar Tree, but you can buy them anywhere. Especially if you are trying to eat healthy and you eat a lot of those fruits and vegetables that are high in acid, like I do, strawberries, blackberries, blueberries, mangoes, maybe not so much, but this will balance you out. Drinking this late at night will help alleviate some of that. What do we want to call it? Regurgitation. Eric's Friday channel. Precious metals, gold, silver, platinum will always be valuable. Yes, they will, but you would have had to have bought those things decades ago. I don't see gold increasing in value in the near future. And when you think about it, gold and silver are really not big money makers to begin with. The idea with those things is they're a safe haven. They're worth a certain amount of money. Will they go up in value sometimes? Yes, but generally not that much. So for people that are looking to make a killing in the market, gold, silver, precious metals are not the way to do it. What that was used for, mostly used for people to protect their assets. In other words, you buy it, you may see a 5-10% increase over the time that you own it, and then you sell it. And that's pretty much how it's been. You don't have to take my word for it. You can do the research yourself, but there's a lot of truth in that. Baxty, Milo. Yeah, they both just came in here. I don't know if they were. I don't think they were fighting, but now that I think about it, I heard Mom yelling a few minutes ago. It could have been a cat fight. Getting a little bit of a rash here. Lotion. I'm telling you, you really need to do it this time. So we've covered the basics, and I was almost thinking of doing a little bit of a workout live stream, but I think we're going to table that for the next live stream that I do, which will probably be on Monday, I'm thinking. I will give you a heads up on that, though. Yeah, I agree. The U.S. dollar, ever since the 80s when we went off the gold standard, should still be backed by something. The U.S. dollar, since it was taken off the gold standard, isn't really backed by anything. It's a promise of payment, and it's used as currency is, but there's no backing. So its value is pretty much whatever you think it is, honestly. I mean, that's the way you really have to look at it. Mido, come here, baby. Gonna come say hi? Gonna come say hi? You guys can probably see his tail. Come here. Come here. Come on. Let's get some likes from Milo. He was very good earlier. They both had to have their nails clipped. He is not one to be held. Are you, baby? Yeah. Well, good cat. Robert Jones says hello to you. It's worth as much as a crackhead saying they'll pay you back. Yeah, it's getting to that point. I mean, if you look at that Zimbabwe $1 million bill, it makes you think anything's possible. And do you know that all great nations have fallen? All of them. You think of the fall of Rome. I think of the fall of, what was the other one? Well, Rome is the only one I can think of off the top of my head right now. But all big nations, all great nations have fallen. And honestly, it's sad for me to think about this, but I think America is on the precipice of being maybe that next great nation to fall if we can't do something about it. And not to get too political here, but these stimulus checks that are coming out are going to eventually hurt us more than help us. I still think they're necessary for a lot of people. Not, would I like to have another $1,200 or even $2,000 or $3,000 or $5,000? Yeah, of course. Who wouldn't? But is me getting that money worth putting my future children, if I ever do have any, or the future children of America in such debt that they can't repay it? I don't know, folks. You know what? That's what we got to be asking ourselves right now. All right, everybody. That is going to be it for the live stream tonight. Thank you so much for coming. I think we did a really good job trying to consolidate some good tips for staying healthy mentally and physically. Please continue to like and subscribe. And as always, have a blessed day, everybody.